Welcome everyone to our first virtual meetup here at the Green Corporate Club. Everything starts with a why. How on earth can we have a sustainable and profitable business with a green? So, to answer that question, we designed this new global network called Green Corporate Network to nurture 1 million green missions at organizations across the world using the KISS principle. Basically, keep it simple, stupid. One of the big ideas was to create a virtual green corporate club, a 24 by 7 virtual space for global organizations with green mission to come together and share the sustainability stories and social and corporate government stories right here throughout the year. I was searching for the first organization that I should highlight doing amazing work in the field. And I found Water for People India and his head, Bishwadeep Ghose, who's doing amazing work in the field. I'm proud to nominate you as one of the first Green Star of the Green Corporate Club.
Thank you, Chandrakishore, and many congratulations once again for setting up this Green Corporate Network. This ambitious goal, I think it is much needed in our times for people to get connected and build a strong ecosystem because working alone is no
Yep,
longer an
yep.
option. So, kudos to you. And of course, it's a privilege
Thank
to be the first one to be invited or nominated for this session. Absolutely thrilled and privileged.
My first question in all my interviews is like, who is Biswajit Ghosh? This is my favorite question. Rome was not built in a day. So tell me about your life story in short.
Yes, I mean, first you accused me of being a star. Now you are going about trying to prove it. My only worry is that people may take you seriously.
You are already a star in my eyes. You have been a student of development for the last 25 years, starting with your Green School, Indian Institute of Forest Management, Bhopal. How was the experience there?
So, I mean, serendipity has played a big role in my life, and reaching IFM was no different. So, I was born in Bhilai actually and grew up in a city called Ranchi in Jharkhand. And the place where I grew up, it was a colony. It was an enclave, like secure, very secure place. It was very local, but with a very global outlook. We had people from all over India
Mhm.
coming there and being exposed to multiple cultures very early in my life. I come from a family of engineers. My dad is an engineer, my brother is an engineer, mother is an academic. So I think that
Okay.
those days there were only two choices, right? Either you do medicine or you do engineering. Engineering didn't seem to entice me either. So I went to study chemistry in Hindu College, Delhi University, which was amazing experience.
Hmm.
And I joined masters there, which was very underwhelming. So I took up a job in Serum Institute, trying to figure out what to do next. So essentially, that was a phase of discovering what you don't like, even though what I
Right.
like was very elusive. And then it brought me to IFM, which was another amazing experience actually, because the course, I mean, of course, you are from there as well, because the course is very unique. It's a
Mhm.
combination of general management, forestry, and social sciences. And we would wonder why, but in some sense that mimicked the reality outside, right? And it equipped us to
Yep.
deal with the complexity that exists in real life. I had no idea what a rural life looks like was. So being exposed to those, I mean, I think triggered something inside, and there was no turning back. We decided that we should come back here and do something about the things that we learned during our field works and in a course in
Hmm.
IFM. And that's how the journey started.
Right. And your next step was Aga Khan Rural Support Program, which was even more intensive, right?
So I think the idea was to go to the grassroots because we were grappling with whatever we had seen. I mean, why
Mm-hmm.
are urban areas developed and rural not? So we figured out that there's a disconnect between, I mean, policies and what is the reality on the ground. So we thought that we should start with the grassroots to understand it better, and that's what brought us to AKRSP. And AKRSP, I was privileged
Right.
to run the Joint Forest Management Program, which was in vogue those days, coming in the footsteps of our illustrious alumnus. Then the program was started by Neeraj Peter, developed by Ajit Chandran, Manish. So it was a great honor to be part of something really big.
Give me an example, like a short case study to show like what is really involved uh, out there.
So this was in a tribal district of Gujarat, and the tribal community is, of course, first generation agriculturists, and they already have very good understanding of nature. I mean, of forests, because essentially their lives depended on it forever, right? So they were disconnected from their own knowledge systems on how to relate to this resource, as we call it. So we had to understand for managing forest.
Yep.
So that understanding, converting that into training, working with them was greatly enriching as well as enjoyable.
So if when you say enjoyable, your heart must be really there.
No, obviously, without the passion, it's not advisable for anybody to join development, because this is something that draws all of us in. You ask anyone, probably they'll say the same thing. Take most of the risks, and sometimes for very little pay. So that was a great realization, actually. And of course, at the stage of your life when everything was an adventure and everything was fun, so there were no pakka houses. Also, we were sleeping often in the rooftops, but we didn't
Exactly.
miss anything. And that those 3 years were still the best years of my life. After AKRSP, I joined this organization called FRLST, Foundation for Revitalization of Local Hill Traditions. I had no
Right.
clue what it meant. Got married, shifted to Bangalore, and landed
Hmm.
this job that opened up the world for medicinal plants and local health traditions. I mean, medicinal plants are also part of forest, but we didn't really learn about them in the institute. What they contribute to the economy and our own lives. Like, so as a family, our first port of call is still Ayurveda. I mean, we try to avoid modern medicine as much as possible. So it never, none of these was like work or issues like we are making a product like a phone or a car. Likewise, when we moved
Right.
to agriculture man ecology, I mean, what did we learn about ecological agriculture either in IFM or in the entire school? But
Certainly.
that is basis of how the food lands up on our plate. Who are the people
Yep.
involved in growing it? What are the challenges they face? What does it take to market? And that has stayed with me. I mean, organic agriculture, I mean, are very real issues, real things which touch you on a day-to-day basis. And the
Hmm.
story of water is so compelling that it's so powerful, it is so ubiquitous, you just can't ignore it. It touches everyone, yet there is a problem. And you start by understanding what is the problem, where does water come from, and why is there a problem. And
Tell me more about Water for People India. So, what is its green mission?
so Water for People is a beautiful organization. And as I heard about their mission, I mean, which is essentially to promote the development of high quality drinking water and sanitation services, which
Right.
are accessible to all. I mean, even today, I think 2 billion people they are devoid of these services globally. And India, it used to be not very different. Although things are changing
Hmm.
now. So we work in 4 states. Although we are a global organization, we are very grassroots in nature. We work started in West
Okay.
Bengal in '96, and the issue of arsenic, and then spread to Bihar
Mhm.
and now Maharashtra, a little bit of Orissa. But essentially, what
Mhm.
what for people does is to see work on the issues of access to infrastructure. Let's say we build water points, pipe water systems, sanitary units in schools, hospitals, and at the community level. Gradually, this was done
Mhm.
through a impact model that we call everyone forever. Again, two simple words. Everyone literally means not to leave anybody behind. So any district that we would work in, we try to ensure that these basic services are accessible to every household, community, and the public institutions that we work in. And they are also sustainable. So the service like we have in urban area, which we realize is there only when something breaks down. Otherwise, we take it as granted. In rural areas, it is not like that. We don't have a utility or professionalized services that provides water and sanitation. So through this impact model of everyone forever, we are trying to set it up. Now, we have decided not to invest our money in infrastructure, which the government is doing in any case. We instead trying to collaborate with the government to scale some of the work we have done in the past and also do some deep engagement work on emerging issues like climate change, water resource management, wastewater management, water quality, like big problems of arsenic fluoride still. And once we
I
find the
came to
solution,
this completely right because all the corporates that they are doing, if they're doing quick fixes in terms of CSRs, right?
can't be any quick fixes. You have to persevere, you have to learn from each other, and then hope that some of these solutions become lasting. I mean, building shiny objects like infrastructures or putting a technology in place can last for some time, but those are not the enduring solutions. We do very deep engagement work in small pockets, and that we call models or pilots. And so, in terms of strategy, we work at the local level. That is our strength. We develop these models, and then we try to scale it through the government because they are the biggest customer for scale, and also they are often the missing. I mean, more important is building the institutions. So if water and sanitation are to be seen as service, so this picture, for example, this is of a point of purchase. It's a pop, we call it.
Mm-hmm.
Now if toilets are to be built and once built they break down, they have to be retrofitted, repaired. You need service providers like we have in the urban areas, right? So we are trying to build this ecosystem of micro entrepreneurs. Like I said, we have an ambition now of reaching or enabling this access to 100 million people who do not have access in India. Right now, the size of the problem, even going by government data, is 600 million people, right? So how do we actually get more people on the side of the solution building than being on the side of the problem is what we are trying to do essentially. And in our own limited way, create some models that we hope, like all good NGOs, will be replicated with others. And we have to build a strong network for doing that. Basically.
Tell me,
Landscape.
like, as a nonprofit, as a small nonprofit, is it possible to solve the big questions in our society, like you are saying, water, environment, and renewable energy, through the limited resources that you have? Because people say that this work should be done by the government. This is just too large for small non-profits or small organizations to tackle. So,
I think, CK, that is the $1 million question. So can't give up and say because we can't do it, let's not do it. We need to say if we can't do it, how do we get together with others who are interested in solving the same problem? Large part of the population is dependent on agriculture, which is rainfed in the country. So the question was when we got together, how do you create a different paradigm for rainfed agriculture, which is different from the green revolution paradigm? The entire ecosystem was developed for green revolution. To do that, we had to mimic what was done in Green Revolution for Renfit, and we couldn't do it alone. So obviously, a lot of people came together who have already been working on this, from government, from academia, from
yep,
civil society. Took the shape of this Renfed, revitalizing Renfed agriculture network, right? Which sufficiently large number of people have to stay at these issues for sufficiently long lengths
right.
of time to make things happen.
So, tell me more about some of your teammates at Water for People who have implemented successful projects in the field and created lasting impact.
Not have a good team, you
Mm,
do not go anywhere. Basically, that's a learning right from my KRSP days too. Now, that is one lesson, life lesson that I've learned: the importance of team and how.
mhm.
I mean, you to work hard but still have fun, and you know that your own faculties are very limited, right? You're not the smartest of people around, possibly. So I identify people, and there are many smart people, there are many hardworking people, passionate people who bring in different strengths in different areas of work. My only job is to see that the alignment is there, that we are all working for the same purpose. And blessed to have this team right from the field, because if you are saying that we are doing good work, that good work somebody must be doing it, doing that work to
Yes.
make it a good work, right? And those are the people
Right.
on the ground who whose work actually inspires the rest of us.
Certainly, that's what we need, is that once we are talk about any organization, we have to partner with that organization to go deeper into it, dig deeper, and find the real gems who are doing you proud, right?
Absolutely, I think, and thank you. We are very grateful to you to come up with this thought process itself, that we should shine the light on those who are making the change happen for all of us, right?
What we'll do, we'll partner with you, and we'll, we'll recognize everyone all the year round through this Green Corporate Club. But I know we don't have much time, but any shout outs to your family or friends who have been a mentor to your journey? I know your wife is from IFM, right? She must be understanding how you work here.
Yes, unfortunately, she has taken the brunt of most of my adventures in development sector, but it
Exactly.
also helped for both of us to be from the same sector, so to say. But my parents, of
Uh-huh.
course, they had no clue about what a NGO is. They always thought that I am deviating away from the mainstream, and but they have stood
Hmm.
by me. Nevertheless, my two girls who are my biggest critics, I mean, they keep me grounded. Now we have two cats who keep my vanity in check. Of course, in terms of mentors, I have been right from, let's say, KRSP, Barry Underwood, and so many people, Darshan Shankar. I can go on naming our faculties in our school, colleges. Some of them are
Hmm.
still in touch, and they have literally taught me development or holding our fingers. And I
Yep.
can't be more grateful to them for the continued support I get. It's more like a sounding board now, and I'm just grateful for their presence. And there are pick up things from your own friends. You don't have to look very far. And
I know that we are not old enough yet, but what do you think is your legacy? What do you think you want to leave as a footprint in the sands of time?
that sounds very grandeur. I have certainly not thought in terms of my legacy, but
Uh,
if there ever was to be one, or if it is to be one, I think I would leave behind an ethos of working that inspires trust among people to work together.
mhm,
That's the only thing I think I've learned. And maybe one of the footprints would be mine that contributes to move the needle a little bit on the big challenges of our
mhm.
lifetimes. And I don't that, see myself as an individual, basically. So, whatever I've done, any claim to success has been on the shoulders of other people who have walked this journey with me. And if that is what has worked, maybe that is the legacy I leave behind, to continue working in that way.
No, let's plan to work together in the next 1 year to that we can share million of the same stories to everyone. And again, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you. Thank you. I think the pleasure was all mine, CK. So, like we've been talking about this earlier also, and you see, I enjoyed this conversation because what you are trying to do and what my journey has been, it is completely aligned in terms of trying to build
Mhm.
the networks, trying to build this ecosystem where people can come together to solve this some rather
Yep.
difficult issues in our lifetime. So thanks again for spotlighting what for people as a first best for all such future endeavors. We'll be there together, of course, but hope this
Okay.
grows into something meaningful and big.
All right. Thank you so much.